Greetings all. I have tidied up my bench, lab, whatever you want to call it, and to celebrate this I wanted to make another video, take this apart. I found this in a junk bin. It was thrown away by previous owners, and I hate to see stuff like this being just thrown just to the bin, and so I picked this up, took this home, plugged it in, and it appears to be dead. So I've got no reservations from killing it. For those who don't know, this is a Youview box. So Youview is a service that basically gives you TV streamed over the internet, and you can select what you want, and it's kind of like on demand and whatnot, but it's all free and it all hunky-dory. So it's a nice thing, but I've got no use for it really. First of all, I don't watch TV at all, because I think it's just stupid, but this thing can, for example, play YouTube, and I like watching YouTube from time to time, or 24/7, but this doesn't seem to be working anymore. So I've tried plugging it in, and that does give me a screen on the TV, but it doesn't go past boot screen, so it gets stuck in a bootloader. I've googled a couple of times what to do with it, how to reset it, so I got into service menu and tried to deleting the hard drive and restoring factory settings and blah 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 blah, but it's not going anywhere past that. It just ends up with it shows up some stuff on the screen, then it goes blank screen on the TV, some LEDs light up over here, and it gets stuck like that for ages. Possibly there is a way to fix it, but I can't be bothered. As I said, I haven't got much use for it. I would have enjoyed it for the YouTube feature alone, but I've got Chromecast, so if I want to put something on a TV, I can always Chromecast it from my phone. So I'm more interested in to see what's inside here. It's a fairly new thing. It's one of the first IPTV solutions done that way. So this is the way this worked. You could select anything that was on over-the-air TV over the past 7 or whatever, however many days, and you could just play that program on demand. So it was kind of neat. It is kind of neat, but yeah. So let's open this up, or maybe before we do, let's have a look around. Front panel, Youview, that's from TalkTalk. So some of the broadband companies here in UK teamed up with Youview, and when you sign up for the broadband, you get a box like this, and it works or it doesn't. You watch TV or you don't, or you buy another TV provider, and this never gets used, so this ends up in the bin. There's also quite a few of those on eBay for £10-15 or whatnot. So if you want to get one, I don't believe you have to be with a certain provider. So if you're with Virgin or whichever provider, and you choose to buy a TalkTalk, all it needs is Ethernet cable. I believe it may have a Wi-Fi as well, but we'll see inside. And that's it. Off you go, and you can pick up those boxes for about £20 or so. So if you're after something like this, go for a bargain. As I said, this one was in the bin. So and it's not working. So let's look inside. This is in the back. You've got USB port for something. Not sure what for. I've not had a manual with it. Ethernet port, HDMI, optical audio for the old TV's SCART antenna in and out. I'm not sure why, because the whole shebang in this works over IP. So possibly this has also got a standard Freeview tuner, digital one, maybe. I'm not too sure. But yeah, let's see what's inside and what we can possibly salvage from it. So the whole thing is held by six Phillips screws, I've started taking this apart when I tried to connect it to a TV, and I wanted to see if this is gonna work. Maybe I'll connect to it and maybe it's gonna be better than Chromecast, which is really nice actually. But it didn't work, so I said, oh what hell, well let me just rip it apart. And I think I took one screw out and started taking this one out, but then I thought, do you know what, let me actually film it. Maybe there's gonna be something something nice inside. So here I am. I've saved it because of this. This was waiting for a week or so, floating about in the room, for waiting for me to get enough time. But I was preoccupied with tidying the bench, desk, lab, my corner, whatever you want to call it. Oh, there's screws on the back. There is another service, by the way, another device like Chromecast called Miracast. I'm sure you've all known about it. So it's like Chromecast, but it's not Chromecast. It's kind of open use. So you know, Chromecast by default doesn't like you to stream unauthorized content from your phone over to your screen, to your TV. But Miracast is more liberated, let's call it that way. So this the Miracast is another dongle, TV dongle that I'd like to try. I've had a Android TV dongle that worked well for quite some time, but it was only a dual core and blah blah blah, and they don't work all that well, to be honest, but it did for the time being. There we go. So as you see on the, oh wow, okay, that's interesting. So on the front over here you can see there is a slight you can see behind the plastic there is a window, so you'd expect, that's what when I first looked at it, you'd expect some sort of display over here, either an OLED or LCD, or at the very least the 7-segment LED displays that show you a channel number that you're on, or whatnot. It does show on the camera a little bit. But what you've got over here, this whole thing is blanked out by just 2 diffusers, white piece of white plastic, and all there is to it is just 3 LEDs with 3 different colors. They light up, I believe, like red, blue, and yellow, or something like that. And there is a window for the infrared. There was a remote for it, which I did not find. I did look for it though. If I found the remote, maybe I could made it do a little bit more than that. I like those cases, all those a lot of end user devices that you know people throw away and whatnot. They come in nice cases, and when you're doing something DIY electronics, a lot of those cases can be repurposed. They're quite nice. I mean, most of the writing and whatnot you can write off or stick something over it. But as a case, it's a nice case, and it's all empty inside. You can use it for whatever you like. But oops, I'm making noise. I have to be somewhat quiet. It's 9:30 and my kids are asleep. My wife is asleep and she's gonna shout if I'm much too loud. Right, this is what I said. Wow. So first of all, I'm quite surprised there is a hard drive in this. So this being a streaming device, streaming service, streaming TV service provider, IPTV, I would have thought that the whole thing is just being streamed. So I would have thought they make those boxes as cheaply as possible, especially that taking into account that they give those away when you sign up for a broadband, and the broadband itself in UK is not that expensive. It's you know, 5, 10, 7, 8, 12 quid a month. With some providers even less. I think TalkTalk you can get for about £8 a month or so. So don't quote me on that, by the way. But anyways, and that completely threw me off. The battery in the camera died, so it stopped recording halfway through my thought process. So where was I at? So yes, I thought that those were made ready to the price, especially they're being given away. But when I opened it up, I see a hard drive. Now I thought those units do not have a hard drive because they're IPTV, and you can the box is connected to the internet, so you can all the data is being stored on the server, and whichever user requests whatever they want, they can click yes, I want to watch that, and then the server streams it to that certain IP. This is how I thought the thing works, but clearly not. There is a hard drive in here. It's a 320 gig Western Digital with a bit of a heat sinking tape. I might actually save that for. That might be useful for something in one of the projects. But yeah, we've got a 320 gig hard drive, so that straight away is a win for something I picked up from the dumpster, from the bin. This assuming that this hard drive actually works, because I managed to get into service menu, and in the process I thought, oh, let me just reformat the hard drive, so delete all the recordings, and it went through the process. Okay, so it's safe to assume that the hard drive is actually fine. So I've got a free 320 gigabyte hard drive to play with, and it's the small laptop form factor. So this I'm thinking straight, this might actually become a portable hard drive, especially, look, this is hard drive. I'm not sure if that's the case. I didn't think that was the case yet again, but this hard drive is being powered with only 5 volts. Can you see that's the serial ATA power connector, and there is only 2 cables, ground and red, which would be 5 volts. That's the only power connected to it. And let's have a look on the hard drive. Does it say what does it take? No, not straight away, but anyways, what I'm thinking, if this doesn't consume a huge amount of 5 volts and it can run off of 5 volts alone, I could make this a simple USB powered hard drive. I've got a couple of bits and bobs that would make it somewhat straightforward and possible, so that will be potentially another video. But for today, let's continue the rip apart contraption. So the cable comes out. I'm gonna take the hard drive out. It's got a nice handy serial ATA cable, really short one. That might come handy later. Only a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, 4 screws holding the hard drive in place, and I think it, no, I see it comes on its own little caddy, so that might come handy as well. Would be a shame to throw it off. I can't believe how people throw away things like that just without thinking at all what they're throwing away. I guess they don't care. People can afford stuff to throw it away. 5 volt DC, there we go. 0.55 amps, so 550 milliamps. This is more than possible to run solely on the USB power, so standard USB socket on a computer. I think will do up to 1 amp, so this is well within the limit. So yes, this will become a portable hard drive. I just need to attach a few electronic bits to it, and there we go. That's gonna be a nice little project. 320 gig, not too shabby. Yep, definitely a win. So it's worth sometimes putting your hand into the bin, especially when you see something electronic and you think, hold on a minute, that looks interesting. But yeah, once I saw a massive audio receiver in a bin, but it was too deep down. I even reached inside and tried to take it out, but it wouldn't go. So it was just too heavy, and it was jammed with other stuff, so I gave up. It's a bit embarrassing, really, but I couldn't help myself. I just can't stand the electronic bits. being thrown away. Okay, we've got how is that being held? There is a screw over here, so there is a USB port on the side, so this thing has got 2 USB ports. In various couple of things, you often find those boards with a pre-made board with a connector and a USB port on it. It's quite common, especially when you've got a product that has got USB ports in weird places around, so front, back and side, and like here. This is also very common in Wi-Fi routers. When you've got those, there is always a USB port wired in. They're usually a decent quality ports, not like you get on those cheap Chinese USB hubs. This can be used for many things, and I've used this a few times. Ready-made port. All you have to do is adapt your case or your project for it to fit the existing holes on the piece of board that you have. But this is definitely a worth to keep piece of hardware. It does come handy. So that's 2 things that we've got out of this. Let's see, that's the front panel, and those are the 2. You can see there are tiny, absolutely tiny LEDs in here. Let me try to see if the camera can pick this up. Yeah, so absolutely tiny LEDs and a piece of foam around them to isolate, so when one lights up, the light doesn't bleed over to the other window. And that's all about it. So that's instead of a expected display on the front of the unit, so that's quite cheap. They could have put something on the front to make it nice and funky and to show, I don't know, whatever. There we go. So that's just held with a couple of clips. 3 buttons on the front. Again, I always hold on to boards with buttons, because you can never have enough tag buttons. Yes, they're cheap, but they're even cheaper when they're free, so that will stay. There's also a infrared receiver, so that's one of those box standard infrared receiver, however many megahertz however many megahertz they run on. So this might be handy to play about with Arduino or something. 4 megahertz crystal and R5F 100 AAA and some massive scratch. I can't be bothered to read through that. Probably some sort of micro, just controlling the inputs, getting the infrared out and controlling the LEDs. Something really simple, but yeah, that's the panel. So we come to the main board. Let's take the screws out so we can have a closer look. Metal can over here to for the RF input and output. So this is those inputs and outputs were working. Sometimes on some stuff, some like old DVD players or receivers, those inputs and outputs, they were there, but it was just not connected to anything. They just simply haven't put it in the model that you've got, but it seems that this one does have it. So is there something holding it on the back still? Yes, one more screw right above the right above the SPDIF. There we go. So you see what I mean about the case. So this can be easily adapted to house anything that you wish. It's quite a generic case. So as far as plastic, I'm going to keep this for some time. If I find a use for it, then I do. If I don't, then I'll throw it away, but it's not going in the bin straight away. So let's look at the main board. at first glance, right, okay, this is interesting. So this is the HDMI out, and here there's a space for HDMI driver chip, but it's not there. Maybe it's not a driver, maybe it's a buffer, maybe it's I don't know, but it's just weird that this particular chip is not embedded. I know it's not like someone removed it, because I know I connected it to a TV and it gave me some sort of picture. So this thing definitely works, but it's just weird. This is probably the only part on the whole thing that I'm seeing that has not been populated, so that's a bit strange. Ethernet, USB power supply, cranking switch, that comes handy as well. A few inductors, a couple of, what are those, op amps? Let's have a look, see if I can read the number. 54228, all four of them. And this is strange, if you look at this, looks like four identical circuits. So I think those are power supplies, maybe for different voltages. Maybe those are little local switch mode power supplies needed for the main chip, which might be an FPGA or something, or some special custom chip, but it may require a few different voltages. So at first glance, what I think those are little switch mode power supplies. So that's definitely a possibility, especially the inductors. And you can see the topology of the board is identical in 4 places. So it seems like they've replicated the circuit over here, only maybe a few values are slightly different, and that one gives you 3.3, one gives you 5 volts, one gives you maybe negative with a negative charge pump or whatever. Okay, big inductor over here, the can, let's see if we can, I don't really care all that much what's if I destroy this or not, because as I said, this is a one-way teardown. This thing is already dead, so I don't care. I'm actually more excited about keeping the hard drive than anything else. This is a piece of a copper tape, quite thick actually, covered with black plastic on the top, and that joined up the two cans. So let's have a look what's under the cans. Get a small screwdriver. There we go. That's one. Ooh, nice chip, Broadcom. Can you see? See if the camera can pick this up. You can see a distinct Broadcom logo on this. Oh, another one. Nice. And another Broadcom chip. And those appear to be the same. They've got the same number on there. Broadcom, I can't exactly see the number, but it looks the same. It's got the same shapes. I'm not sure what this package is called. It's some sort of BGA format, but it's quite nice to see. This is it's got the silicon on the top, and then the larger PCB layer to bond out over to all the balls at the bottom in a BGA. But it's a nice little package. I will actually see. I'll try to desolder this. See if maybe we can look on the other side. I'm just interested in how many connections are there. There's a couple of chips over here under the big sink, heatsink. Those are most likely memory. There's a few analog pieces over here going over to old compatibility mode SCART job. So let's take the heatsink off. There we go. And the heatsink is held in place with just plastic pins going through, so not much job required to get those removed, or squeeze them a little bit and they pop out on the other side, and ta-da! We've got a nice heatsink. That's worth keeping. That might be handy in for multitude of reasons, so that's definitely staying with me. And on this little chip we've got a foam around, so there is a foam around, and then inside there is more of that. Oh no, that's definitely not the same. This is far more fragile. It's some sort of compound that transfers heat away, but it's definitely not the same as the other one. This one is more like plasticine or Play-Doh. And I'm not too sure what happened. I've lost the video when it came to editing it. So that's the end of the Youview box, and hope you liked it. If you did, you can click you liked it, and that's all. See you next time. Bye.